It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome to the Rory Jennings show after another sensational day of football, which has included Nottingham Forest firing their second manager of the season as Big Angie's 39-day tenure came to an end after Chelsea ran riot in a 3-0 win at the City Ground. But now we have to turn our attention to the top of the table immediately as Arsenal's game against Fulham has just finished. And here with all the latest is talkSPORT's Tom Clayton.
Yeah, full time here. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. A game that was another battle of attrition for the league leaders. Fulham competed hard in this game, but once again it was a corner that handed Arsenal the victory. A sweet delivery that was nodded on by Gabriel to be tapped in over the line by Leandro Trossard. Fulham definitely had chances in this game, the best of which both coming courtesy of youngster Josh King, but it wasn't enough to stop Arsenal getting their 6th win of the campaign and reclaiming top spots in the Premier League. They now switch attention to Europe with Atletico awaiting in the league in midweek. For Fulham, though, it's 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League. Full time at Craven Cottage, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1.
Thank you, Tom. It is a huge result for Arsenal. It's exactly the sort of result that they needed, and they are back at the top of the Premier League table. And it is the kind of result that suggests they are capable of winning the league. They had to dig deep. They had to fight. They had to defend resolutely. They are demonstrating all of the minerals that go with winning a Premier League title. A massive result for Arsenal. And now it's over to Liverpool. Liverpool are facing a must-win game against Manchester United. And I really do want to hear from you. Arsenal fans, you must be over the moon with that. Liverpool fans, how are you feeling now in your race to try and retain a title for the first time at Liverpool since the early 80s? Remember, we are now live on YouTube and also on Android TV and Google TV. We are even on Prime Video, so come and see us in our 17th floor studio in full HD. But now it's all about you, it's about your opinions, so give us a call, 03717 223344. That's 03717 223344. This is the Rory Jennings show on talkSPORT, and we are going to go straight to the lines. We're going to speak to Derek, a Liverpool fan. Derek, sir, you are live on talkSPORT.
Rory, how's things with you?
I'm very well, thank you, Derek. Yeah, I'm very well. How are you feeling? You've just watched Arsenal win 1-0. It felt to me like a sort of statement Arsenal win that, top of the league, away from home, finding the minerals off the back of scoring from a corner. It's, dare I say it, the kind of performance of champions.
Are we going back to the same old 1-0 to the Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, it served them very well under George Graham. I think that was born in Paris, wasn't it, when they won 1-0 away from home, Ian Wright scoring in 94, 95? It was an era that it was a sounding board and a foundation that really did stand them in good stead. Are you worried?
Yes, I'm worried the way Liverpool are playing at the moment, Rory, to be honest with you. I'm worried about their Florian Wirtz in particular. I went to see Germany and Northern Ireland in Belfast on Monday night, and Florian Wirtz was non-existent.
Mm. What do you think? What do you think tomorrow? I feel like now there's just no room. There's no wiggle room, is there? Arsenal winning today means that you simply have to win.
Yeah, well, Liverpool have to win tomorrow. I think Slot has said in the last few days that Isak is up to full speed again after playing a couple of games for Sweden, and he should be more of a threat hopefully now, and hopefully Wirtz will be as well. But maybe this sort of game will suit Wirtz with a wee bit more space. If United come out and try to play an attacking game of football, leave more room in behind. But the Wirtz at the moment, the games that he's played, the Premier League doesn't suit him, Rory, whatsoever. And even the other night, Northern Ireland closed him down in the Germany match, and he just had nowhere to go.
Yeah. Do you think Wirtz definitely starts?
Possibility. He might not. He might change it tomorrow, yeah.
Do you know what else I thought was interesting? Arne Slot has come out, hasn't he? And he said, now we can judge Alexander Isak. Isak is fit. Isak is ready. Now's the time to judge him. What do you think? Yes. I expect big things from him now.
Yes, certainly, yes. Once he gets up to speed, I expect him to be the player that he was at Newcastle in the last year or two.
What's quick score prediction, Derek? Quick score prediction tomorrow?
2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. I mean, that would be a huge result for you. And thank you very much for your call there, Derek. We're going to stay with the phone lines now, and we're going to go to Jackie Knuckles. Stealthy Man City, steadily climbing the table.
Are you, Rory? Okay?
Very, very well, Jackie. Great to talk to you. What
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Another big result for you?
Yeah, the first half was appalling, to be fair. Everton had quite a couple of good chances. But again, Donnarumma, absolutely brilliant. He's made such a big difference, with that defence. They seem to trust him a lot more. He's just so good. He saves and he's brilliant. But second half, Erling Haaland, I can't say any more about him, Rory. He's unbelievable. He's like a machine. 23 goals in 13 games.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And he's 96 goals in the Premier League with 105 appearances.
It's ridiculous. When you hear that, Jackie, it feels almost inevitable that he's going to break Alan Shearer's record, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yes, I think he will. Definitely.
Yeah.
He's just, like I said, sometimes he doesn't really contribute, does he? But he's always there. But like my friend said, who I go to the game with, Anton, he said he's got to get the ball past him to score a goal anyway. So, he does contribute in some respects, doesn't he? But
Can I ask you a question, though, Jackie? Can I ask you a question about City? Do you think, is this a fair criticism, that Erling Haaland's brilliance and Donnarumma's brilliance are perhaps papering over the cracks of City? Like, do you honestly think that you're capable of winning the league this year?
It's a difficult question, really. We are capable of winning it, but whether we will win it, I don't know. Because we're just going quietly about our business, aren't we? You've got Arsenal fans coming on. Oh, we're winning the league, we're doing this, we're doing that. We're just sitting back, we're just playing our football. We've not lost a game in 8. Since Donnarumma come, he's not been on the losing side. And also, I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, after what happened to Ricky, we've not lost a game neither. Can I just say something on here, please? I'm so proud of Campbell, his son. I know Campbell, and he's a lovely, lovely lad. And the way he's conducted himself on the interviews, on the TV, on the radio, he's been absolutely amazing. And I just want to say, Campbell, well done. Well done. You're fantastic for what you've done for your dad. Absolutely brilliant.
I would certainly echo those sentiments. Jackie Knuckles, it's always an honour to speak to you. Thank you so much for calling in. Great to speak to you. Have a lovely evening. We are going to stay with the phone lines. We're going to go to Ross, a Liverpool fan. Ross, sir, you are live on talkSPORT.
Hey, Rory, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, Ross. I'm very well. How are you feeling ahead of a huge must-win game tomorrow against Manchester United?
Fairly nervous, to be honest with you, mate. I don't know what team he's going to put out, and I think that's because I don't think he knows what his best 11 is anyway. There's a few issues, aren't there? There's a few players that you think have to start, but the form just doesn't suggest that they will. Like, I can't believe that I'm going to say these words, but the last time that I was hosting this show on talkSPORT, it was off the back of Chelsea winning in the last minute at Stamford Bridge against Liverpool. A lot of people called up, in fact, including Paddy the Baddie. Paddy Pimblett phoned up, and he was on his way home from the away end at Stamford Bridge, and he suggested that for Liverpool's next game, Mohamed Salah should be dropped. I thought that was wild. I felt like it was a little bit off kilter. But Liverpool fan after Liverpool fan phoned up suggesting that Liverpool would be a better team at the moment without Mohamed Salah in it. I think you're right. I've got friends who are Red fans, and they say exactly the same thing. But it's a head and heart. You know, he's gonna turn a corner. You know, the old Salah will turn up, but you just don't know when. So if you drop him, it's always that, you know, it's the flip of the coin, isn't it? Who do you put in instead of him? And have you just dropped somebody that can turn a game on its head? You know, he has really good form over the years against United, and so if you put in money on anyone to do it, you'd be putting on him. But on recent
Ross,
form,
his record against Manchester United, his record against Manchester United blew my mind. Like, I think Jamie Carragher wrote a piece in yesterday's Telegraph about this. I read that piece. It's 18 goals in 18 games against Manchester United. It's truly ridiculous.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Can anyone, and surely nobody, I mean, I might have to ask our producer to have a look, but surely nobody has scored in that fixture more. 18 goals against Manchester United for Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, it would spring to mind if anybody had, and I can't think, you know, even the great strikers, Henry, Drogba, going back years, it would be obvious if they had, and I don't think there is anybody that is. So, you know, I would personally, I'd keep him in for tomorrow, and that might be a little sentimental, but I would like him to see him start Ekitike and Isak, work away to have those two playing together, because I think they cause a lot of chaos.
Just a really basic question. Do you think that Liverpool, you're the champions, you're playing a fairly woeful Manchester United side, do you think you win?
I think we do. I don't think we do it on ability. I think we'll do it on character and personality. If those players have come back from an international break and they're fed up of losing, you know, the last 3 games on the spin, if they're fed up of losing and they put a shift in, I think we should win. But if they turn up and they think it's an automatic right to just roll over Man United because they're in bad form, I think we could be in for a hard afternoon.
And do you think that the impact of what we've just seen at Craven Cottage is going to have any bearing on the game tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, you can, if Arsenal are going to keep scoring from set pieces, and it doesn't seem to be, and Chelsea today actually a couple of goals, it doesn't seem to be any let up on that, then even if, you know, they've got an ugly game and they really are trying to grind out a result, you know, if they get a corner or a free kick in around the box, you know they've always got a chance of getting a goal, and that makes them pretty dangerous, I think, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think you've approached that perfectly, Ross. Anybody that's talking about Arsenal winning games in an ugly way, winning games via set pieces, becoming set piece FC, corner FC and all that, I just don't get how you can look at that in a sneery way. It's the sign of champions, winning ugly, going away from home, winning a London derby where you've previously struggled. For Arsenal today, it is a brilliant result, a huge result, a result that they had to get with the fixture that is going ahead tomorrow. They needed to win. They needed to pull away from Liverpool to put the pressure on them. So now we will see what Liverpool are all about. Ross, thank you so much for your call. I really do appreciate it. And remember that this show now, it's going to be about what is going on at the top of the table. Arsenal fans are back at the summit after defeating Fulham, knocking Manchester City off the top, with Liverpool facing a huge must-win game against Manchester United tomorrow. Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, any Arsenal fans who are at the game today, any Arsenal fans who have just watched their team win at Craven Cottage, I really do want to hear from you. 03717 223344. That's 03717 223344. Give me a ring and I could be talking to you next on the Rory Jennings Show on talkSPORT.
for the causes make you...
Listen to this stat. Arsenal haven't faced a shot on target in consecutive Premier League games for the first time since November in their last title-winning season of 2003-2004. That is the last time that Arsenal went consecutive games without facing a shot on target. It's a huge statement. Like, when you think about the reasons why Arsenal could win the league, you just look at that back line. They've conceded 3 goals all season. They've played a game more than Liverpool. Liverpool, for context, have conceded 9. Every single time Arsenal concede 1, Liverpool are conceding 3. This ruthless, miserly back line that Arsenal have put together, Mikel Arteta deserves so much credit for. Is this back line going to propel them to a league title? We are going to talk to Dave, the Arsenal fan, who called 03717 223344. Dave, you are live on talkSPORT, sir.
Hello, Rory. I just want to say I am a massive fan of the club and the Rory Jennings channel. Listen to all your videos. But Arsenal are going to compete for that 15-goal season that you always talk about with Chelsea.
It's really interesting you mentioned that, Dave. Dave, do you know what? It's really interesting you mentioned that, because you know of all of the records that exist, those records that everybody knows, the Arsenal Invincibles, for example, the Manchester City Centurions, the Alan Shearer 260. There are records that we know, and I kind of feel like they are set in stone. They live forever. Like, I don't think anybody will do the invincible thing. I doubt that will be broken. I used to think that Alan Shearer's 260 wouldn't be broken until Erling Haaland came along. This 15 goals that Chelsea conceded, Petr Cech, Ricardo Carvalho, John Terry, Jose Mourinho, it felt like it was there forever. Nobody would get close to this 15 goals. Do you honestly believe that your centre-half pairing, combined with David Raya, your fullbacks, and I suppose we have to talk about Zubimendi and Declan Rice as well, do you honestly believe that you will concede less than 15 goals this season?
Well, Rory, whether that happens or not, if we can keep level with that kind of defensive stability, we've got a massive chance to win the league. That's all that matters. The 15 goals is really about random games where you concede 2 or 3. But this season, we concede against Szoboszlai at Anfield, St James's Park header, Walter Mada, and the other one, Manchester City, Haaland, the most prolific goal scorer in the league right now. So these are big teams and they're hard games. We're keeping clean sheets at Craven Cottage, which is bogey ground for Arsenal. Every season we go there, the last few seasons, we've lost points there. We've done it tonight. We would have lost. The way that we didn't get that penalty today, I remember a couple of seasons ago, we were going for the title. We would have just, near New Year's Day, we would have just gone, oh, damn, and then conceded a goal and maybe lost it.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Look, I mean, just for the record, that definitely...
belief of the defensive stability. Arteta is complete opposite to Pep Guardiola. And I think when he left Pep Guardiola, that's when their defensive stability left Manchester City. Big statement. He's never won the league yet. But I just believe that if we're going to win the league, play like Stoke City. If that's what you want to call us, let's play like Stoke City and just win every game 1-0, 2-0.
Dave, you don't have to convince me about that. Anybody that's using that as some sort of stick to beat Arsenal with, Arsenal being resilient, Arsenal bullying their way to victories.
I've listened to a load of your videos. You have done before.
No, I don't think that's true. Dave, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm sneery towards teams that can defend their way to a league title. I don't think I'm ever sneery towards the way that you win silverware.
Fair enough. I agree with you.
I think I'm sneery about teams that don't win silverware. I don't think I'm sneery if you can win a league title by being this incredibly resilient team, incredibly physical, having this physicality, winning games via set pieces, winning games because you don't concede goals, winning games ugly, winning games 1-0. I would celebrate that. I certainly wouldn't see that as something to be ashamed of.
So would I.
Did you expect this with the defence? Like, last year, I felt like, certainly at one point, I felt like Arsenal's best back line was the 2 obvious centre halves, but I would have then said Lewis Skelly, and I would have also said Ben White. Lewis Skelly and Ben White are not in your first choice defence anymore, are they?
Well, I think that Lewis Skelly and Ben White are offensively better options. I know Calafiori can go forward, but the way he heads things away, it's strange to say. I like this system now than I did. I was always a bit sceptical with Lewis Skelly. I always thought he went into midfield too much, a bit like Zinchenko. We don't need that. We need to make width for Declan Rice and players like that to get into the box and create chances. I'm just really happy with the way it's going.
Can you see Liverpool dropping points tomorrow, or do you see them ultimately?
I think Liverpool will always beat Man United at the moment. I think I could see them winning 5-0 tomorrow.
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. We haven't won the Premier League for 20 years. It doesn't matter what Liverpool are doing. It's matter what Arsenal are doing. And if we're getting the 3 points on the board, we're at least pushing them to go, wow. Yeah. They've won away at Fulham, they're bogey ground, whatever. They've got the 3 points. We have to win now.
No, I'm with you. Dave is a great call. You made some great points. I think Dave is onto something there. The fact that it's not really about what anyone else does. Arsenal have got their noses in front. Arsenal sit top of the league. Arsenal have won away from home at a ground where they've struggled. They've won 1-0. They've done it ugly. This is the former champions, isn't it, Will? Will, you're live on talkSPORT.
Good evening, Rory. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, very good, especially after that result. It was very nerve-wracking at the end. Couldn't really watch the last few minutes because I was so nervous, but happy. Our defence is so good. I mean, our team on the whole is just, there's something about them. There is something about this team. There's so much quality there. The only quality we're missing is the striker. Gyökeres, I'm a bit concerned about him. I think he could be our Achilles heel, Gyökeres. I think
the goal never came. He did his thing, didn't he? He kind of ran in behind. He put defenders under pressure. He did his thing. But the goal doesn't come, does it?
No, it doesn't. But he has been involved a bit more than he was at the start of the season, where he just wouldn't be in the game at all. But hopefully it will suddenly click.
Are you worried at all, Will? Just to point out the stats, you're looking at 7 games in the league. If you include the 2 international games that he played for Sweden, you're looking at 9 games since his last goal.
I know, it is a concern. That is the biggest concern. I don't think you can just rely on your defence. I really don't believe that, because, you could also get an injury to Gabriel or Saliba, or both, and we could be in trouble, because we don't score that many goals. We really don't. And that is because we're lacking a striker, in my opinion, because Gyökeres is not scoring goals. We've waited so long for a striker, and to have a flop is just...
However, it doesn't matter if you're not scoring at the rate that you would like, because you're not conceding. And also, just to point this out, you are scoring at a decent enough rate. You've scored 15. Manchester City have scored 17. Liverpool have scored 13. So you're not massively underperforming, but you also have the most positive goal difference because you just don't concede goals. 3 all season.
No, exactly. I'm just, I'm always want to be perfect. I always want to poke holes in us, and not get carried away. Like the City fan earlier says, we all get carried away. Apparently, all our Arsenal fans. No, we're not all like that. We don't all get carried away.
Although, do you know what, Will? I would argue at the moment, in terms of just being a natural football fan, it's not really about getting carried away. You're top of the league. You've won away from home. Your nearest title rival has lost 2 on the bounce. It's not getting carried away if you were to be jubilant. It's not counting your chickens. It's just the natural ebb and flow of the league. At the moment, it's going your way.
Look, I'm happy with our manager. I'm happy with our team on the whole. I'm happy with our owners, which I wasn't, and I think they are proving me wrong. I think Josh Kroenke has a lot to do with that. They've been spending money. We can't complain as a fan base at the moment, but it can quickly turn, as we know. Fans can be quite fickle.
Big weekend for Kroenke as well, isn't it? Arsenal today, the LA Rams at Wembley tomorrow.
I actually didn't know about that.
Yeah, I think it's Fulham versus Arsenal. If I've remembered it rightly, it's Fulham versus Arsenal today, and that's obviously Khan versus Kroenke, and then tomorrow it's Jacksonville versus the Rams, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the LA Rams, which is also Khan versus Kroenke, which is a wonderful thing for our football game to be involved in.
Yeah, absolutely, brilliant.
Mate, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rory.
Will, great to talk to you, Will. Great points raised. Really, Really appreciate it. Still to come on talkSPORT this evening, it's the best boxing show on the radio, Fight Night with the wonderful Adi Oladipo and Spencer Oliver. But call us right now if you want to air your views on the title race, as Arsenal sit top of the table with Manchester City and Liverpool playing catch-up tomorrow. 03717 223344 is the number you need to air your views. That's 03717 223344. And I could be speaking to you next on the Rory Jennings Show on talkSPORT.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
What's happening, everyone, and welcome to the Rory Jennings show on talkSPORT. A sensational day for Arsenal, and do you know what? I'm not really prepared to hear anything to the contrary. Anybody that is suggesting that Arsenal maybe look vulnerable because they're not scoring enough goals, or suggesting that Arsenal look vulnerable because they're so reliant on set pieces, or suggesting that it's all a little bit ugly, I do not know where you are coming from. It's a brilliant day for Arsenal, going away from home to win a London derby, and now they can put their feet up, they can light a cigar, and they can just watch and hope that Liverpool drop points tomorrow. Liverpool really desperately need a win because Arsenal are top of the league. They are top of the league by 3 points. They are 4 points clear of the champions, Liverpool. A brilliant, brilliant day for Arsenal Football Club. And they won in what is the way that people would describe as champions. We're going to go straight to the phone lines. If you want to get on talkSPORT to have a chat with me tonight, just give us a ring. 03717 223344. That is the number that Gabby called, and Gabby is now live on talkSPORT. Gabby, how are you?
I'm still waiting for them receipts, my friend. I'm just,
Gabby.
I'm loving this. I'm cashing it in on a weekly basis, my friend Rory. It's just, I can't believe that opening as well. How humble are you to know that your North London brothers in red are bossing it at the moment? It's just fantastic.
Yeah, we're not brothers. We're enemies. We're sworn enemies. We're like sharks and jets. But do you know what, Gabby? I don't really get it. I don't really understand this cynicism about winning ugly. I extended the same courtesy to Liverpool. You know, earlier in the season when Liverpool were nicking wins, beating Bournemouth in a fairly ugly way, beating Newcastle United really late on. People were saying that it was ugly and it wasn't the performances of champions. I was saying that it was. There's no right way to play football. The right way to play football is to find a way to win the game. And that is where managers like Postecoglou and Russell Martin get it so wrong. Believing in something nonsense like philosophy when what your job is to find a way to win games. Mikel Arteta is finding a way to win games, and he is doing it brilliantly.
I would say, I mean, I'm early 40s, and I've watched an awful amount of football since the early 90s, and I would just put it down to probably the similar to yourself. How many league titles have been won in me watching consistent football, Premiership football since the early 90s? How many titles have actually been won on the basis of winning ugly? Now, I can remember Man United doing it for, well, all of the 90s, to be fair. They had some games that were incredible, but I remember the games where Pallister would come up and score a late header.
Scored a couple against Liverpool one year, didn't he?
Yeah, and when you look at it, at the end of the day, as long as you don't concede, then you've got the great basis to be able to build on that.
Do you know what, Gabby, as well? Within this, if we use the current Arsenal team as a case study here, this Arsenal team are capable of playing beautiful football. Declan Rice is a wonderful footballer. Zubimendi is an elite level footballer. Eberechi Eze is one of the most beautiful footballers to watch in terms of the way that he carries the ball, the grace in which he moves, the way he glides over the pitch. This Arsenal team can be beautiful, and they will be. They will pump somebody 5-6-0 at some point. But they can go away from home and nick a 1-0 win, which is the recipe for champions.
And it's also setting us up. If this consistency carries through to the end of the season, it's going to carry through for England, and we're going to have a double bubble as Arsenal fans, especially if we do it this year. And
Gabby, you was
England
going so
on.
well. You was going. Me and you. We were like York and Cole. It was a partnership. It was all going so well. You think that this is going to extend into what? Thomas Tuchel's England team?
I think I didn't say the other night to yourself and Jason that actually there wasn't any Chelsea players in that team that won 4-0 away to Latvia the other night, and I didn't want to get that jibe in because I felt it wasn't strong enough. Mo needed some heat because he'd come out with some waffle, but in regards to, I just think it's a benefit for everybody. If everybody starts to play well, especially them English players, and there's a consistent 2 or 3 players that link up well, I think it's only going to benefit us come next summer. I really do.
I suppose you're right. And look, players like Declan Rice and Lewis Skelly and Bukayo Saka playing and winning is obviously a good thing for England. Eberechi Eze, absolutely. Do you know what? This has all been very positive, Gabby. But I'm going to change the tone a touch. Victor Gyökeres, you worried?
I think I remember speaking to you pre-season and you ridiculed me when I said about signing Kepa, and I said I was going to renew my membership because I wanted to see a consistent of decent signings, and I'm not worried about. I'm going to put this out there now, and talkSPORT can record it, whatever, but I actually think he's going to come good, just as Havertz is going to come back in the side, and that is going to be the predicament for Arteta, that he will start scoring goals consistently because he's now being found. He was very unfortunate not to get a goal today, and he was making more runs and more positional play that we needed. And I think he's the worry that opposition fans have, that when he does come good, that is when it's going to be game over for a lot of sides.
Gabby, what are you basing this on, though? Like, look, everything you've said up until this point, you have based it on perfectly provable rationale. This is just pie in the sky. What on earth are you basing this on? Like, he's going to come good when Havertz comes good.
Rory, I think I remember, if I quote, Haaland wasn't going to make it in the Premiership, said by a certain man I'm speaking to now, and he come good. And it just takes that chemistry to occur and people to start to find him, and he finds his feet.
But what have you seen in Victor Gyökeres? So just to explain, my rationale, when I suggested that Haaland would score 15 goals in his first season when he ended up breaking all sorts of records and winning a treble, which was massively, wildly wrong, but the rationale, the reasoning that I said that it wouldn't go his way is because at Chelsea, we had seen people arrive from the Bundesliga and struggle. We had seen Kai Havertz arrive and struggle. We had seen Timo Werner arrive and struggle. That summer, we had seen Jadon Sancho arrive from the Bundesliga and struggle. So my rationale, which was completely incorrect, but the reason that I said it was the aforementioned. Why do you believe Gyökeres comes good? What have you seen in Victor Gyökeres that suggests that he is going to come good? Because look, I've waxed lyrical and I don't like doing it about how well Arsenal are playing and how good they look throughout. Zubimendi, brilliant. Calafiori, brilliant. Timber, outrageously good. The keeper, unbelievable. Like, loads of good. I just haven't seen anything in Gyökeres to say that you are correct.
But he's people said to me he's not a goal poacher. He hasn't had them opportunities to poach. He's just been a very bullish, admittedly he looks a little bit sluggish at times, but he just is a very bullish type number 9 that I just think he needs to find that form. And I think when I was at the West Ham game before I flew down to Chelsea, I'd done 2 games in a day. I left at 65 minutes and flew down to Stamford Bridge, and I watched the whole 90 minutes there. And I had a brilliant day doing both games.
What games did you do? You did what?
So I went to Arsenal-West Ham. I left at 65 minutes before Saka's penalty. I got on the Rattler, went down to Earls Court, got on a Boris bike, went round to Notting Hill, met my best friend, and we went in and we watched Chelsea beat Liverpool because he's a Chelsea season ticket holder, home and away.
Dropping. I liked it. I did that once when I was at the World Cup in Qatar because it was all in one city. I did that once. It was quite a weird way of watching football.
I get a lot of heat from my friends because they're like, you've got more clubs than Jason and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. But listen, or more clubs than Tiger Woods, but I just adore football and I watch it wherever I can. I've watched 3 games today and I'll continue to. Tomorrow I'll watch the 2 games and whatever else comes up as well. I just think if you love football, you can't. it's hard because other fans want to chastise and they want to critique what's going on at Arsenal, even now with yourself mentioning about Gyökeres. But I just think you have to think of it in the long term that Arsenal are doing the business without Gyökeres firing. He will come good.
You are right. Yeah, Gabby, it's always great to talk to you, Gabby. It's another brilliant call. We were flying at the beginning. We were like Lennon and McCartney, me and you. But it's all gone madly wrong. It's culminating in you not knowing the difference between Jason and Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. With Jason Cundy's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Well, it's what these people call me, you see, so there you go.
Great to talk to you again, Gabby. I look forward to talking to you soon. We're going to stay with the phone lines. We're going to speak to 100% Mo. No, 100% Mo. Welcome, sir. 100% Mo is a Liverpool fan, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right, Mr. Jennings. How are we, sir? Are we good?
All right, yeah. How are you? Mate, you're in a good mood, considering that you're third in the league.
Listen, mate. Look, I understand you guys are ramping this up, giving Arsenal the credit. Fair play, they deserve the credit. But Arsenal, they're like the new Spurs, like Spursy, like. Do you know what I mean? And no matter what happens, Arsenal are not going to win this league. The way they're playing, the way it doesn't work like that. I mean, Liverpool. I mean, you watch them tomorrow; they will click. It's only a matter of time. They've had the bad patch. Yeah, tomorrow they'll click. They'll go on in about 20-odd, 22, 23, or maybe 19-game unbeaten run, and the league will be over. League will be over. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal will not win this league. Man City have got more chance of winning the league than Arsenal.
Okay.
Am I right,
look,
Mr.
100% Mo. Tribalism aside, look, you're a Liverpool fan, you want this to be true. What are you basing it on? Why can you categorically tell me?
I'm basing this on Liverpool have signed top quality players. They've not signed any duds. Do you know what I mean? Wirtz, I mean, come on. The guy, he's magical. He's like Matt Letizia, John Barnes, and Jan Morgy.
What are you basing this? I love a trip down memory. I love nostalgia. We can talk about Matt Letizia all day long.
I mean, look, Ekitike, the guy, he's on fire. I mean, Isak hasn't even started yet. He's just getting fit. Now, do you actually believe that teams are going to outscore us? They're not. They're not going to.
But they are. You've lost games. You were outscored at Stamford Bridge.
Obviously that we've lost games. Yeah, but these things happen. But do you know what it is? It doesn't like bad form. You know what it is? Cream always rises to the top, Mr. Jennings. And you know what? This bad form won't last. And I'll be coming on to your show or Candy and Jimmy G's show and saying this. I'll be saying this for all the time. I mean, Liverpool are just a top-class football team. They don't have any duds playing for them. You watch tomorrow, yeah, United will come there and they'll raise the game. It will be like the cup final for them.
Mo, is Gyökeres a dud?
No, mate, no. Gyökeres is a top class. It takes time. It's not easy. It's not easy to step in Mr. Robertson's shoes. It's not easy. Gyökeres was used for playing for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, they get beat. So what? But when they get beat, the scrutiny's on them. And you know what? These boys are learning how to handle the pressure, how to play for Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Such a big.
Do you think you beat Manchester United
tomorrow? Easy.
Easy. Why? What's the score?
Tomorrow, like I said to Gandhi last night, 3-0.
3-0.
Tomorrow will be the start of Liverpool keeping clean sheets. I mean, they've got too many good players to, you know what, not win this league. I mean, this league, if it was prime Man City we were going after, they were chasing us or they were top of league, I would say, you know what, we're going to struggle. But Arsenal are going to drop points. Arsenal, do you know what I mean? And Fulham today, they had nobody up front. They're like toothless. They're never going to score.
You know what I mean? 100% Mo. I tell you what, that was an amazing call. And I wish that I was as confident about anything as you are about Liverpool, because you have almost convinced me that there are no duds when I've seen them play of late. Very interesting call there from 100% Mo, but we will now have to momentarily take a break. Over on talkSPORT 2 right now, there's a big championship game where the score currently is Leicester 1, Portsmouth 0, and you can listen to that game via the talkSPORT app right now. 03717 223344. That is the number to call if you want to speak to me. Give me a ring and we could be speaking any minute now. 03717 223344. This is the Rory Jennings Show on talkSPORT.
look at the table, you'll see that Nottingham Forest are in threat of going into the relegation zone by the end of the day. Listen to the boos. Good luck talking your way out of this one. Full time at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 3.
Nottingham Forest Football Club have confirmed Ange Postecoglou has been relieved of his duties as the head coach with immediate effect.
It's Sunderland 2, Wolves 0, but this is almost certainly going to go down as a Wolves own goal.
Manchester City 2, Everton 0. Yep, it is that man again. 11 Premier League goals for the season. He's second in the afternoon.
Palace 2, Bournemouth 3. They are going top after all. And Ryan Christie off the bench has the goal.
Brighton 2, Newcastle 1. Danny Welbeck with his second of the afternoon.
Burnley 2, Leeds 0, and this is an absolute stunner from Burnley substitute Lou Chandler.
Up against the keeper, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Jean-Philippe Mateta bags the match ball.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 1, and after all of that, after everything I've said about Arsenal's corners, they've scored from a corner.
Oh, this is the Rory Jennings phone-in show on talkSPORT, and that is how Saturday sounded, with Bournemouth and Palace playing out a 6-goal thriller and big wins for Man City, Brighton, Sunderland, Burnley and Chelsea, putting Nottingham Forest to the sword to cost Ange Postecoglou his job. More on that later. But now we're going to go straight back to the phone lines. We're going to talk to Danny, the Arsenal fan. Danny, you're live on talkSPORT, sir.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, Danny. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, very well. You've got to be over the moon.
Very happy. I did not think we were at our best today at all. I thought we missed Odegaard. I don't think we controlled the game in the same way that we do when he plays.
Yeah.
But I thought all in all we dug in deep, and I think we thoroughly deserved to win.
Right, Danny, let me just stop you there, right? You didn't, according to you, you didn't play particularly well. You massively missed Odegaard. There was something else that you said in a negative light, but you've come away with the 3 points. That's even better, isn't it? That makes it even better. That makes it even sweeter. It makes it even more likely that you win the league. Not playing well and winning is the stuff dreams are made of.
Just to be clear, this is not a negative Arsenal fan phoning up. I'm a very positive Arsenal fan. I feel very positive, and I totally agree. Winning when we're not at our best, when we're not creating as much as we should, when we're missing our captain and most inspirational player, in my opinion, absolutely massive 3 points, thoroughly deserved. And to be honest, it feels like we're in a good place right now. We've got a very strong squad. We're covering all the positions. Your point about the striker is valid. I think that's an open question. Even if all our strikers are fit, we've got Havertz, Jesus coming back at some point, and Gyökeres. None of them. It doesn't look like any of them are 25-goal a season strikers right now. But I think you've got to give him time. Some of us are old enough to remember, the likes of Thierry Henry that took a while to settle. Dennis Bergkamp took a while to settle. I'm not suggesting Gyökeres is a Bergkamp or an Henry at all, but you've got to give the boy some time.
Are you worried though? So far, just to point it out, Gyökeres has last scored for he last scored for Arsenal 7 games ago. He last scored a goal because he had played twice for Sweden in the international break 9 games ago.
Am I worried? Look, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little bit of concern. But the truth is, we're winning games, we're top of the league, and he's not even firing. So in that sense, I'm over the moon. But do you know what the real point I want to make, which is the reason I called up? And it's not a big thing, but it was the penalty decision the penalty that was overturned.
Yeah.
I find it, sorry for changing the subject, I find it staggering that it was the fact it took so long would suggest it wasn't a clear and obvious error, was the first thing. But also, there was a replay. I wasn't at the game. I watched it on TV. There was a replay that they showed a few times, which quite clearly showed the player playing Saka's knee before brushing the ball. And how it got overturned, I just don't understand.
See, Danny, I'm surprised because this has taken a slightly different direction. It's interesting, isn't it, the perspective? Because my natural assumption was that you were at the game, because what I was about to say to you was, mate, I've seen it on the telly. It's not a penalty.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think it's a penalty. I really don't think it's a penalty. I feel like he got the ball.
I thought he played through his knee, glanced his knee with the player's knee, and then scraped the ball. When you say he got the ball, he brushed the ball. So minorly. But listen, it's neither here nor there. The only reason I'm surprised by it is because it took so long to decide something that should have been clear and obvious, is what I understood. And I'm not a fan of VAR. But look, going back to Arsenal, I think we're in a great place. I think that we've got the squad. And whether we go on and actually do it or not, look, remains to be seen. None of us are going to sit here and say, oh, we're favourites, even though we're the favourites with the bookies. That means nothing. It's very hard to get over the line. Just one more quick point. That Liverpool fan that rang up.
Yeah.
You know,
the very positive Liverpool fan.
The very positive one, where you said to him, you know, oh, you've already lost the game, and his response was, yeah, but you know, that happens. You know, teams lose games, but the truth is, teams don't always lose games. And I think he's in cloud cuckoo land. They look like they're in all sorts of bother, quite frankly.
Yeah, look, what you have, you have the anchor, don't you? The fact that you haven't faced a shot on target in 2 consecutive games, and it's the first time that you've achieved that record of not facing a shot on target for 2 consecutive games since you won the league in 2004. It's big, isn't it? That back line.
It's massive. It's massive. We're very hard to break down. We're very, you know, for whatever reason, you know, we seem to be just keeping clean sheets. Well, I think the big thing is the right back, to be honest, and the left back. But the right back is sensational for us. Timber, he's been sensational. I actually think he could play anywhere on the pitch, bar goalkeeper. Quite frankly, he's an outstanding footballer.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's amazing, and we've got the corners, which means that we're always scaring teams, and there's a bit of psychology there probably for the opposition as well.
Yeah, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? The fact that you get set pieces and you're expected to score them.
I hope so.
Yeah, Danny, great call. Great to speak to you. Really, really impressive stuff. We're going to stay with Arsenal now. We're going to stay with the phone lines, and we're going to speak to Daly, the Arsenal. God, these Arsenal fans are coming in thick and fast, aren't they? You can tell they got the win. How are you, Daly? You're live on talkSPORT.
Hi, Daly, grandmother, almost 70, been watching Arsenal since I was 1 year old, and still supporting them. The only thing is they've improved from last season a lot. The only thing I would be concerned about is Djokovic, because actually he should be, after 9 games, he should have scored more. And I think the only other thing that Arsenal do need to really think about, because we have to get into the box before we strike. We need to have some strikes coming from outside, from long shots. I'm a grandma, so I don't use all the language. I've just come down from my grandson's house. They're all Chelsea and Man City and Man United fans with their friends. And I sit amongst them with my red T-shirt on, my Saka T-shirt, and I'm screaming and carrying on. So it was a good game.
Yeah.
But I believe that in order to really put the Premier to bed for us, we're going to have to up our scores.
So what are you thinking? You think that the Achilles heel is, are you going to score enough goals? Is Gyökeres combined, I guess, with Havertz going to be, is the firepower going to be powerful enough?
You know, the problem is, I don't know if the problem is there are other teams that we're yet to play that have got long shots from outside the box. Yeah? So they're firing from every corner of the box. They're nowhere. We have to play right in. And even when we get in, I think sometimes it's just too many passes.
Yeah.
And that's my only concern with Arsenal. I think we need to be taking some long fire shots straight in. You see them once in a blue moon, but we have to get well into the box before we see something. And that's concerning.
Do you think you're going to do it, Daly?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, like the team that played today, Haaland.
Yeah.
Now, you can, and the only thing is, our team, all of our players can play. Even if the man just now said someone was on the bench, and if he was on, no, we haven't got a team like that. If one man is off, the rest of the team are rubbish. No, the whole team can play. And I don't think football should be just, like Haaland. Everybody's banking on Haaland. Take Haaland away, that team wouldn't be where they are right now.
No, that is true, Daly. But we have seen examples of teams be fired to a title by the brilliance of one player. It's not a one-man team, but we saw Robin van Persie leave Arsenal, go to Manchester United, score 1 billion goals before Christmas, and basically win Man United the league.
Yes, well, true. But then again, I think also in football you've got to look at attitude, because sometimes they're blaming. They were blaming our last season. All my Chelsea grandsons and them and Man were saying, "Oh, get rid of the boss," and I said, "No, leave him. He's doing a good job." And said, "No, get rid of him. You haven't won anything yet." I said, "No, he's building up that team, and you can see what he was doing." So, and they start blaming the manager, and I said, "It's not always the manager. Sometimes you've got a team." And if they don't believe in, or they're not getting what the manager's trying to put across, you couldn't have a problem with that. So it's not only the manager, but I think these guys are really believing in their manager, which is a good thing. The fans are beginning to be more supportive because Arsenal fans have been rubbish sometimes. Not me, but there's some Arsenal fans. I've never been to a game. My grandson, he said he's going to save his money and take me. We're thinking of going to America, and I'm pushing 70. But I can hold my ground, and I will scream night and day for Arsenal. I'll fight anybody who's going to say anything different. Yeah, I believe that this time we can win it.
Well, mate, time will tell, Daly. And look, if when you eventually get over to the Emirates, give us a call afterwards. It'd be great to speak to you after your debut at the Emirates Stadium, and maybe that could be to witness Arsenal winning the league. Thank you so much. Keep your calls coming in. 03717 223344. Next, we're going to switch our sights to the bottom of the table as Nottingham Forest are in the hunt for a new manager.
Premier League teams have got a load of crazy nicknames. Ever wondered where they came from? Some are pretty straightforward. Arsenal are the Gunners because they were founded by a group of munitions workers, and Bournemouth are the Cherries because their old stadium was built right next to a cherry orchard. Then there's Everton. They're dubbed the Toffees, but why? Well, because when the club was formed, just down the road there were two local toffee shops. Ipswich Town nicked their nickname off their opponents in the late 90s, Birmingham. The term Tractor Boys was chanted as a way to tease the team about their farming background, but they started using it themselves as a way to cheer on the team in victory instead. Take that, Birmingham.
Reece James smashes pushes it home. Chelsea lead 3-0. Nottingham Forest are beaten, and Postecoglou is in a world of pain.
And Postecoglou has walked out of the dressing room with his bag over his shoulder, and Nottingham Forest Football Club have confirmed Ange Postecoglou has been relieved of his duties as the head coach with immediate effect.
That's right. Big Ange's 39-day reign at Nottingham Forest came to an end just minutes after his side lost against Chelsea live on talkSPORT this afternoon, and he leaves without winning any of his games in charge. talkSPORT understand that a deal for Sean Dyche to take over at Nottingham Forest is in the pipeline. However, Roberto Mancini is also a shock contender for the Nottingham Forest job alongside Dyche. The ex-Burnley and Watford boss is seen as a short-term fix, but wants assurances beyond the 25-26 season. More details are on our website at talksport.com. Now, though, we're going to talk to the wonderful Max Scott, a Nottingham Forest season ticket holder who is the perfect man to speak to gauge exactly how everyone's feeling regarding this news. How are you, Max?
Well, I've been better, Rory, to be honest, mate. You know, it's funnily enough, yeah, I've been off for a few weeks, and heading back to the City Ground today was one of the sort of first things I've done in the last few weeks. And so I was obviously really looking forward to go home. I'm sure you'll feel the same about Stamford Bridge. You go back to your football club, back to the stadium that you go to most weeks. It feels like you're coming home. But there was this air of inevitability, Rory, about today. And despite what was a really good first half, and you'll know this, you know, it was my team against yours. Forest, you know, for the first 25 minutes, I thought dominated and looked really lively. Didn't create loads of chances, but that's sort of been the story of Postecoglou's reign at Forest. Really, there's been sort of some demonstrations and glimpses of excitement, but it just felt totally inevitable that this was the end of a long car crash. And you know, I said before on this station that, you know, when Nuno was sacked and there was strong links that we'd been reporting around Ange Postecoglou, I said from my perspective that it would be an absolute act of self-sabotage. And it's proven to be so. Of course, when the appointment's made and you are reporting on your own club and you're watching things unfold, you look for signs of hope and you look for the positives and you listen keenly to everything that's said. And so, you know, you want to give an opportunity for these things to work, but it didn't. And, you know, bar a couple of 45 minutes here and there, it's been an era, a very small, short 39-day era to forget.
With regard to Mr. Marinakis here, Max, do you think that it's quite impressive what he's done? Because getting rid of Postecoglou after 39 days is a clear sign that he must accept that he got it wrong.
Yeah, I think that lots of Forest fans will appreciate the unceremonious, undignified brutality of the decision 21 minutes after full time. You know, there's still tens of thousands of people in and around the City Ground sort of drowning their sorrows in yet another defeat. We're talking about, you know, Forest have the longest streak in the Premier League of a lack of clean sheets. This is totally not what the club became used to last season under Nuno Espirito Santo. So, of course, I think there's an appreciation for how ruthless that decision was. But having said that, Rory, you can rewind a week or 2 weeks of international duty and say, well, why wasn't it done earlier? You give yourself a little bit of opportunity to bring somebody in. You give that person an opportunity to, you know, have a little bit of a run at a massive game against Chelsea, who, you know, a great win off the back of a great win against Liverpool. And then, of course, Rory, you can look at the appointment in and of itself. You know, but I think I wasn't the only person to point out the glaringly obvious issue of bringing in Ange Postecoglou, whose style of football was diametrically opposed to Nuno's. And this isn't me. I'm not berating the club for dismissing Nuno. I think Nuno made his bed and he's lying in it. And he's lying in it at a great club at West Ham that's ran incredibly poorly and look like they're going absolutely nowhere. So I've absolutely no sympathy for Nuno and no concerns about his dismissal. But you look at the appointment of Ange, and you have to ask questions about the decision-making process
because
and where
it
their
felt
minds
like it had
are.
gone wrong. It felt like it had gone wrong, Max, didn't it? From the opening game, like I remember you played Arsenal the opening game, you got absolutely battered by them, and then a couple of days later, didn't Swansea do you in the League Cup? It felt like it was almost over before it had begun.
Yeah, absolutely. We were 2-0 up against Swansea away in the League Cup and ended up losing. I mean, talk about dreadful tenures. This will go down in history. And I'm sort of not here to cast aspersions too much on Ange Postecoglou, the man. You know, I've spoken to him, I've interviewed him. He's incredibly polite and thoughtful and articulate. But you have to look at the record. You have to look at what he's not achieved at the club, and completely agree that this is a total car crash. And so all eyes really are on the next appointment, because it's absolutely vital. You look back, at the sort of history of having 3 managers in one season, and it doesn't end well for football clubs that make those decisions. And so it's absolutely vital. And, we understand, and I've been reporting today that, it's incredible. Forest are sort of very close to agreeing a deal with Sean Dyche, but there are some sticking points because he would like assurances past the end of the season. Understandably, he knows what club he's getting into, and he knows that there's often a merry-go-round of managers. And also, I'm not quite sure that Sean Dyche is the sort of name and the appointment that Evangelos Marinakis wants to make. I think that actually there's a lot that Sean Dyche could do with this squad. I think there's an argument, Rory, it'd be one of the best squads he's ever managed, looking at the investment in the summer. And then there's also Roberto Mancini. And you look at his pedigree, of course, it's absolutely fantastic. But I think there's still lots of questions, really.
Do you have a preference, Max? If you were making the choice, what would you prefer?
Well, my preference, neither of them. I think it'd be Marco Silva, who has a release clause in his Fulham contract, which ends at the end of the season. Evangelos Marinakis has long admired Marco Silva. I think he's done an absolutely stellar job for Fulham, who are a great football club. And he's worked under Evangelos Marinakis before, and I think that goes a long way, in football and in the situation that Forest find themselves in. But, I think they're obviously very keen to make a replacement very soon. We've got an important game against Porto at home at the City Ground on Thursday in the Europa League. And so something needs to be done quickly to rectify. Otherwise, this could be, one of the all-time sort of Premier League declines from, as we've spoken about many times on air, Rory, this sort of miraculous season, which mirrored in many ways some of the best times in the club's history, to now being, on track to being one of the worst.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if there is a set of supporters in the country who knows the pitfalls of a relegation and how difficult it is to get out of the Championship, it is Nottingham Forest. And you do currently sit 18th in the Premier League. You are currently in the relegation zone. Is the priority now, Max, simply for this season, survival? And maybe, therefore, it's Sean Dyche to bring someone in to survive?
Yeah, look, I know that it's easy to say that. The obvious answer is right now, yes. You can't have delusions of grandeur and expect another European qualification this season when you're languishing third bottom, amongst the worst teams in the league. Forest have conceded 18 goals in Ange's tenure in 8 games. And so there is a lot of work that needs to be done. But you can't tell me, Rory, that all of a sudden Murillo, Milenkovic and Matt Sells have become one of the worst sort of back lines in the league. They're not. I think they're still very much up there in the top echelon, actually. And unfortunately, we've found ourselves trying to transition at a rate that we're not expected to. Rory, you know me, mate. I'm 6'7", and I went through some disastrous growth spurts when I was about 14, 15 years old, and I was growing at a rate that I couldn't quite handle. And I think that what Forest have done is they've transitioned far too quickly and tried to outgrow themselves, and maybe not acknowledged how tenuous remaining a Premier League football side can be. This is our 4th season back in the Premier League after 20 odd years out of it. Only one of those seasons have things been good. Forest's normality is struggling in the Premier League. And what they should be seeking, I think, is some solidity and consistency, not, supposedly reaching for the stars. I mean, whoever thought Ange Postecoglou being appointed as a manager was reaching for the stars? But we've got to acknowledge where we are, Rory. And we're in a fabulous position having European football, and we ought to bloody well give that a crack with a manager that sort of knows what they're doing. But I mean, you look at the names, Rory. I want to know what you think. You've got Ange Postecoglou, you've got Marco Silva, you've got potentially Roberto Mancini. Who do you think on the market?
Do you know, Max? When I asked you who your preference would be, I thought Marco Silva's a great manager, and I think he's destined. He is the next cab off the rank in terms of the managers in the Premier League that are going to go to a top club. But I just felt like you were going to snap my hand off at Roberto Mancini. Like Mancini I thought he was great at City. I thought he did really well there. Obviously, his time at Italy was sensational, and I just feel like he's an icon, Mancini, and bringing him in, I think that would give you.
The Forest need an icon, Rory, and I'm not denying that.
No, maybe not now. Maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe simply success this season is survival, and maybe therefore you bring in Dyche, but you can understand why Dyche wants to talk about like a longer term contract, because he doesn't want to just be somebody who comes in to get the team to 40 points and then ultimately be cast
Let's
aside.
acknowledge the situation, though. I mean, none of these managers, I think, bar Marco Silva, who's always been admired by the club, and, you know, explorations took place after Nuno was sacked regarding Marco Silva, amongst a host of managers, but it didn't happen. None of these managers, particularly Mancini and Dyche, they're not the ideal manager because they haven't been in the seat in the last 8 games. It's Ange Postecoglou. So the club is now in a huge period of transition. You know, Ross Wilson, as sporting director, has moved over to Newcastle. You've lost Nuno, who was, despite the unceremonious ending of his career at Forest, was a really important part of that culture and that teamwork and that sort of vibe which saw Forest reach European football. So the club really is in a state of flux. And not to mention 12 signings. By the way, only 2 of which featured in the starting 11 today, which I think speaks to how disjointed, Rory, everything is.
Yeah,
and so we're talking about a club with great history, with great recent history, and a fantastic squad, but that is completely disjointed and a really crucial point in its recent history.
Max Scott, a joy to speak to you. Excellent work there. It really is interesting what's going on at Nottingham Forest. And it is amazing, isn't it? Ange Postecoglou out after 5 games. His name will now be confined to the ash heap of history. And we will discuss Ange Postecoglou's name alongside the likes of Les Reed, Bob Bradley, Nathan Jones and Frank de Boer as some of the worst Premier League managers of all time. It really has gone that badly. Now, Nottingham Forest's next game is against Porto in the Europa League, and it's live on talkSPORT on Thursday evening. Nottingham Forest fans, the phone lines are now open for you. Who do you want in the managerial hot seat? In the Championship, it's half-time between Leicester and Portsmouth, where the score is 1-0 to the home side. You can listen to all of This is the Rory Jennings Show, and Arsenal fan Mick Jagger will be delighted with their huge win against Fulham as the Gunners go top of the league. So, before we go back to the calls, let's hear from Mikel Arteta, who spoke to talkSPORT's Tom Clayton after their win over Fulham to go back to the top of the table.
The song goes 1-0 to the Arsenal. It had to grind that one out today a bit.
Yeah. But we won as well 5-0 and 3-0 and 2-1. And today we had to do it because it's a really tough place to come. And we could have scored earlier and we had some chances to do that. But the team managed the game really, really well. And I'm very happy with what I've seen because it's a tough place to come.
It's a remarkable defensive record you've got this season. It's now 3 goals conceded in 11 games in all competitions. How are you keeping it so tight at the back? How are you getting that into the players?
I think it's a mindset, it's a willingness to do it. There's a lot of things related to habits, to organization, which every player is so willing and focused to do. And then, the more you do it, probably the more you believe in it, like always, and then one thing leads to the other one.
Bukayo Saka won man of the match today. He's so important to the team, isn't he? He missed such a massive part of last season. How important is he going to be this year?
You've seen today, and especially we're getting him on the ball and isolating with people, what we can generate through him, and probably is the best game he's played since he's been back.
One last question. You said that the games are coming thick and fast. Atletico Madrid on Tuesday. How do you keep the players focused for each game?
Well, I don't have to because they are motivated and they are hoping. I think now they are already preparing for Tuesday. We know that the opponent we're going to have. And that's what we want. Play every 3 days and win.
Strong words there from Mikel Arteta, whilst Fulham boss Marco Silva was less than impressed with the officials.
It will be more nice if Anthony Taylor see that was not a penalty in the first moment, I have to say. Probably one of the best, if not the best, ref in England, in my opinion, right now. And what we expect from him is a good decision in that moment. But it was so clear that Kevin touched the ball and VAR did what they should do, in my opinion. They should take good decisions from the VAR, and the others, unfortunately for us, they didn't take.
Interesting stuff. Now we're going to go straight back to the phone lines and we're going to speak to Jack, the Man City fan. How are you, Jack?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you dark horses? Nobody's really talking about Man City, but you win every week and Haaland scores every week. Is there a world where, in a similar way to Robin van Persie firing Manchester United to the league a decade or so ago, that Erling Haaland does exactly that to you?
I think the fact that we're out of the limelight at the minute is definitely helping us. There's a lot less pressure. I think we've got a fortunate run of fixtures coming up as well. I think we've got Liverpool in a couple of weeks, and we're probably the best time ever to possibly play them. And we've got a lot of winnable games coming up. Genuinely, the only thing stopping us pushing Arsenal all the way, because I do think this is going to be their year if it is their year, is keeping Haaland fit. That's the only thing. At the minute, injury-wise, we're doing all right. We've got a lot of players coming back. I think Rory coming back will be a big bonus as well. Even though, Nico O'Reilly has been unreal since he's come into the side. Nico Gonzalez is looking really good as well. Obviously, Rodri is still far from... To be honest, I think Rodri's past his best days. But, Nico Gonzalez, I've been really...
Jack, I thought Foden's picked up that De Bruyne slack, hasn't he?
He has. I think the fact that he's back in that number 10, I think mentally he's in a lot better place than he was last year, because I think obviously he had his critics last year and he was struggling with that. But overall, I think he's back, and I think if anyone's going to push Arsenal, I can't see it being Liverpool. I think Liverpool have always had, I think under Klopp they always had the same sort of foundation, if you know what I mean. So they have the same core of players, but I think there's been too many changes this year. They're not a team that thrives when they spend money. And I think that's they've been found out with that this year. They tried making too many changes too quickly. It's gone wrong for them. And I think, I just can't see them pushing Arsenal. So I think if anyone's going to challenge Arsenal, it's going to be City. But yeah, like I say, it's going to depend on keeping Haaland.
Do you think you do it, Jack? Overall, cards on the table, who wins the league?
At the minute, it's hard to say anyone other than Arsenal, isn't it?
That's the spirit, Jack.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Conceding as little goals as they conceded is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, even if like we saw Saliba get injured the other week, but then
Mosquera comes in, they've got the depth. Jack, it is a great call. I'm just going to squeeze in one Arsenal fan before the show is up. Thank you so much, Jack. We're going to speak to Russell, the Arsenal fan. Russell, we're going to end the show with an Arsenal fan. It's you. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think this season, if we don't win it this season, we're never going to win it. I think our defence is unbelievable. It reminds me, I'm 54 now, and I remember the 90-91 season when we won the league, and I think we only conceded about 15 or 16 goals that season. We were very, very tight, and it's bringing back a lot of similarities to that season. I just think I'm more confident when we bring players off the bench now. They make a change, they make a difference. We didn't have our best game today, and I think we did clearly miss Odegaard in the midfield to break down Fulham. But you're right. You're saying, these performances, we're not playing well and we're still winning.
It's a great sign, isn't it? It's a great sign when your talisman is out. Yeah, your talisman is out, and yet you're winning games away from home in a London derby.
Correct. Yeah, and I just think we're so strong, and yeah, I think.
Do you think you do it, Russell?
No one's going to throw it away. I think the only ones who are going to throw it away is us.
This is it. I've heard an Arsenal fan today say to me, the only team that can stop Arsenal winning the league is Arsenal. Is there a chance that happens, or do you feel like you will get over the line this year?
I think we will, but I think it's just complacency. I think we are prone to a bit of a rick at the back. I know we've got a great defence, but although Ray is a great keeper, he does worry me at times. And I think just hoof it up the field, and he tries to play short. And I think complacency, that's the only thing I think personally that's going to stop us from winning the league this year.
Final word, Russell, who wins the league?
Arsenal.
There you go. Russell, great to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much to everybody who has got in touch. I really do appreciate everybody. It's been great to speak to you. I will be back on Friday evening from 7 o'clock with Thank Football. It's Friday, and before that, talkSPORT brings you live coverage of the European games, including Newcastle versus Benfica and Frankfurt hosting Liverpool in the Champions League. And remember, you can hear all of Sunday's goals as they go in, including the huge clash between Liverpool and Manchester United on Game Day Live with Sam Matterface from 2 p.m. That is followed by majestic and experienced Premier League manager Alan Pardew taking your calls from 6:30. But coming up next, it's the best boxing show on the radio with the wonderful Adeola Depot and Spencer Oliver on Fight Night on talkSPORT. Ta-da!